Oh, come on, let's go. Let's get this show underway. People wonder why I do this. It's legacy for my kids. Someday they'll look back on this and they'll see. Let me turn this up. Okay. And go back to the Zoom stuff. All right, got it. I'll let YouTube do its YouTube thing. Hey, everybody, my name is Isla Brock. I'm a certified hypnotherapist and my company is Central Valley Hypnotherapy. This is Most Things Hypnosis. I'm a little off today, I think. I don't know if it's because I have the sunshine in my room. I have changed offices yet again from where I was before to where I am now. So I'm a little off. Hey, Catherine. She's joining me today. Woo-hoo. Checking me out is what she's doing. Glad you could make it. Again, my name is Isla Brock. This is Most Things Hypnosis, and we're going to talk a little bit today about sick responses and unsick responses and how we turn off our stresses and what it does, and stress responses, I guess, is a better way. And I got this information from an amazing voice called, his name is Joe Dispenza. He's a neuroscientist, I guess, quantum science, something like that. Anyway, he's very brilliant whenever I hear him talk. He's definitely got some major brilliance going on. But first, there is a but first in all of my tricks here as I try to. What happened was I was getting online and my computer just froze on me. So everything that I was doing, I had up, just disappeared. So now I've got to go back and grab it again. So I talk to people a lot about relationships. This may be a two-factor. And one thing that I do, I send them to this website for people to go to just learn about relationships, kind of where are they, etc. And I'm actually looking for my butt first, but hang on. So anyway, so I came across some friends and some clientele. They all have different types of, there's just always these relationships that go on again, off again. And some people don't want to let go of, etc. It says, so I can't do that one. Hang on a second, folks. You just love it when I had everything going and then the computer just decides to go cray. And that's not it. I'm looking for I have a but first segment, and this is how I am. I don't come with a lot of preparation to this. I'm just kind of like fly by the seat of my pants. There's something that I should do a but first for before I get into the meat of my project here. When you're not used to being confident, confidence feels like arrogance. It's not. I guess it can feel that way. When you're not, when you're used to being passive, assertiveness feels like aggression. Being assertive is not rude if you're using tact. You can have your needs met. You can convey your point of view or your boundary without being ugly or rude. When you're not used to getting your needs met, prioritizing yourself starts to feel selfish. The phrase that I learned recently was, it's not me first, it's me too. So everybody else is the first on your list, but you're second on their list, that as that goes. So my counsel is, you can put people on your list and keep them there, but I highly recommend you also put yourself on your own to-do list. It's a very important list you got to do. All that saying I said was by Vasilia Benenstock. It's called Jean Jean psychologist. So at Jean, Jean psychologist. I guess it was an Instagram post that I must have found somewhere. Oh, and here's something fun. I don't know if y'all can see this. Let me bring up my page. I was in a play, as I'd mentioned before. I don't think you guys can see. This is our cast picture that probably a little too bright to have it show here. And I'll put it up on my Facebook page, or it's already on there. So help yourself, folks. Anyway, the meat of today, I'm going to talk a little bit about relationships, and then talk about how our neocortex, how our mind kind of messes with us at times, etc. I can't do that one. I wanted one more but first before we went back, but it's okay. I'll be fine. When you become frustrated with older people because of what they cannot do, think how frustrated they must feel because they can no longer do it. Respect the older people. Sometimes they can't do things, and then you're frustrated, but they're frustrated too. I have a client who had a stroke. I have a couple clients who had strokes. And it's frustrating. It's a work to watch them sometimes walk or just to get around. And they're about as frustrated as one can get because it's not how things used to be. And I just try to give them all the patience that I possibly can. All right, let's get into this. Let me get my notes back up here. So we're going to talk a little bit about relationships. This is from a book called 25 Steps to Letting Go of Someone You Love. And I don't remember the author off the top of my head, but I will find the author. But I don't want to lose my page. If you answer yes to any of these statements below, you can't handle rejection or the truth. Well, it's not a lot of people. Nobody likes rejection, least of all me. But rejection is something that we deal with. Who are some people that get rejected? Actors get rejected a lot. Let's see, who else gets rejected a lot? Well, people looking for a relationship, people looking for a job. When you're job hunting, there's a lot of rejection there. Modeling world, the entertainment world, all of the entertainment world, the racing world, sometimes there's rejection there. There's areas in lives that we get that are rejection is part of it. Even in our own home, when you have siblings and you're growing up with your other siblings, some get rejected, some don't. I have a little brother, and he was spoiled rotten. I don't know what it is about him. He can go into a crowd, and I can go into the crowd with him. We're raised at the same everything, and all of a sudden, he's like the one that's got the biggest crowd around him. Oh, how does he do that? Anyway, here's some of the questions that you can consider. When you hear the truth, accept it, don't deny it, don't fight it, or just accept truth as it comes to you. But here's some questions that if you answer any of them below, this is in the readings that I have, you can't handle rejection or the truth. And if you have a problem with rejection, that's where I come in and I can help you. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. And that's one of the things that I can help you with. You're constantly thinking of ways that you can make someone fall in love with you. You will never make someone fall in love with you. They either will or they will not. It's not, I'm going to do this and this and this. You're just people pleasing and it's not going to work. Trust me. You know someone who isn't into you, but you've wasted months or years trying to make them into you. If they've said, I don't want a relationship with you, yet you're besties or friends with benefits, they're never, unless they tell you, they're never changing their mind. That is what it will be. When somebody acts like you're not good enough for them, you think something is wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. You didn't do anything wrong. You're just being you. And they're being arrogant. When someone acts like you're not good enough for them, and you try to prove that you're good enough for them, don't bother. They don't care. And if you are going to raise your hand or whatever, or have a question, I'm not looking at the Zoom screen. I'm just looking at my questions. So just unmute yourself and pipe in. You know that you're not into you, but you You know they are not into you, but you still give them everything you've got in hopes that they'll fall in love with you. That goes back to the first one. You know that they're not into you, but you still give them sex and money or anything they want from you because you're thinking, again, back to number one. They chose someone or someone else over you, and you're blaming the other thing or person instead of your partner. Listen, if someone's not with you or for you or with you, to you or wanting you, all I got to say is it's their loss, not yours. You are who you are. As long as you're kind and you have gratitude and compassion and love for people, kind, caring, sharing, giving person, doesn't mean you have to give them, but you're yourself or whatever. In a relationship, you're sacrificing and compromising, etc. But if it's not mutual, yeah, there's a problem. You know they don't want to be with you, but you blame their ex, their past, or something else for them to not be with you. And also look at it. Maybe they just don't jive with you. You maybe don't jive with them. You just don't see that you don't jive. Your jive is, it's like my jam is why couldn't they love me? Why can't they like me? I'm a good catch. Well, maybe not for them, for somebody else. I dated plenty of people to know that there are some people that when I got told no, and that's fine because I never pursued 99% of anybody I dated, I didn't pursue them into any kind of relationship. We would part company. That's it. It wasn't my loss. It was their loss. And I just kept my freedom. And I still have my freedom. I still have my independence, if you will. Yes, I am with a great guy. Couldn't ask for better. Let's see. You know they don't want to be with you, but you blame their ex or past. Oh, I already did that one. You constantly text or call someone that doesn't reply to you or barely replies to you. Hey, there's a message there. That was one I had to learn a long time ago. If it's not reciprocated back and forth, yeah, I just give up on that one. I've had lots of friends in the past, and I used to pursue the friendships, but they were not in pursuit of me. When I stopped pursuing, I found out who my friends were. And even to this day, I'm going to be 60 next year. I know it's hard to believe, right? Those people that I was pursuing that I thought were my friends, well, I was their friend, but they weren't my friends. Or is that the other way around? I was their friend. Yeah, they weren't my friend. Or however that's supposed to work. It was a one-sided thing. Begging people to date you or to be with you or to spend time with you, don't beg. Just let it go. I know it's hard. Let it go. And so I know, and if you have a hard time letting go, that's when you call me. You contact me to help you let it go. We'll do some techniques that I know, and I'll be happy to share how and give you information, a little hypnosis, some hypnotherapy to help you let go of the things that you're holding on to and you're finding it hard to let go of. You let people that you know aren't into you go in and out of your life as they please. It's just a phone call. I had one friend years ago. She would get a phone call from a gent when he was in the mood for companionship. But when she would call him for companionship, he's always busy. I was like, you got to let that one go. It's not, that's a one-sided no. And you're just getting used. Don't be used. Okay, you think of the person that rejects you, ignores you, cheats on you, beats you, disrespects you, or uses you for sex and money and loves you. Yeah. No, don't think of that person. They say they love you, but they do these awful things to you. Look, yeah, that's just somebody with a lot of other baggage that you don't need in your life. You can't handle rejection if all of these things are going on. When you know someone isn't into you, but instead of admitting that they're not into you, that was a moment I had to take back and look at myself. You make excuses for them. You know when someone isn't into you, but you think you can make them fall in love with you. There was one gent I had gone out on a couple dates with. It was no big deal kind of thing, but I really wanted to get to know him. I thought he was a cool guy. And he sent me a text saying, I'm going to go out with somebody else. I was so distraught. And I talked to a girlfriend, and that was his text back to me. And my girlfriend said, well, that's his text back. That means he's done. Do not text him. I was like, you're kidding, right? I shouldn't say any. No, you say nothing. He said his intention. He's put up his boundary. You say nothing. The best advice I ever got. And that's the advice I give to you today, too. Best advice. Say nothing. If somebody is rejecting you, it's their issue, not yours. They're doing the rejecting. You don't have to receive it. Okay. All right. So let's get into another area, and then I have to go. I got phone calls to make. This will be short and sweet. So Joe Dispenza, like I said, he's a really very interesting character. I really like his how his mind works, if you will. But when you turn on, these are his words, okay, not mine. When you turn on the stress response and then you can't turn it off, you are headed, you're headed, I can't read my writing, it's still scratching. You're headed for disease. And I know people who work themselves into sickness. There's no organism in the world or in the universe that can live in a state of emergency mode for an extended period of time without getting into disease. So it is scientifically, factually proven that the hormones of stress downregulate the genes, G-E-N-E-S, we smartasses out there, downregulate the genes, and it creates disease. It's a long-term effect. So it takes a while and it can happen for a while. And I'll give you some case in points here in just a minute. Human beings, because of the size of our neocortex, we can turn on the stress response to just by a thought. Just by thought alone, we turn on that neocortex. We can think of a feeling, an emotion, and then feel anger, sad, happy, frustration, whatever. We can create that ourselves. When we think about our problems and turn on those chemicals, that means our thoughts can make us sick. So if we're thinking sick, we can turn ourselves sick. It's not that, it's all scientifically proven, but I'm saying, oh, I'm thinking of cancer, no, just chill. Let me finish. So if it is possible that our thoughts could make us sick, is it not possible that our thoughts can make us well? You're using the same energy going in one way. Why wouldn't it work going the other way? People who have tinnitus, and there's that loud ringing in their ear. So one of the things that I'll ask them when they're sitting in my office, something like, how loud is it on the scale of 0 to 10? Oh, it's about a 6 right now. Okay. I want you to just tune in to the sound. And I want you to imagine it being a 7. So if you have tinnitus and you're at a 6, or no matter where you're at, I want you to imagine tuning it in a little bit more heightened, a little bit more annoying. Make it to the next number. And then get there. Pause this if you need to until you're there, and then turn it back on for the rest of it. Then I want you to go to the next highest number. Tune into that. And just make it a little bit bigger, more frustrating even. You know, if you're a 6, you make it a 7. If you're a 7, make it an 8, and so on. Don't get to a 10. Get to like an 8 or a 9.5. But I want you to imagine it being worse, much worse, where you are to where, 3, 4, 5 points until just before a 10. Now, if you're already a 10, this may not work because you won't even be listening to me. But if you get it that high and you've imagined it and it's there and it's really bothering you, now look what you did. I want you to now imagine it going back a point. Going back, and that feels pretty good because of where you were. It feels good to be down a point. Imagining yourself going back another point. Imagining it going down another point. Now you're back to a 6. The 6 doesn't feel so bad, does it, compared to where you just were? But we're not done. What if you were to take that 6 and imagine it being a 5? Just imagine it being a 5. You hadn't done that before. Now imagine it being a 4. All you're doing is habituating it. You're just imagining it. That powerful tool you have called imagination, incredibly powerful, more powerful than willpower. Willpower only works at a conscious level anyway. Imagination works at the subconscious level where willpower isn't welcomed. So you just keep imagining it getting less and less and less until you're comfortable with whatever that is. Same thing with pain. When you have pain and it's chronic, mostly with chronic pain, imagining it wherever it is on a scale of 0 to 10, always take the SUD, the subjective unit determination scale, 0 to 10. Just before you do anything, just take that little test, that little determiner, and write that number down. So if your pain is a constant 7, imagine it being an 8. It doesn't have to be an 8, just imagining it as an 8. Imagining it as a 9. And then imagining it back as an 8 again, and a 7. Now, the 7 doesn't feel so bad since you had already imagined it a 9, but let's imagine yourself a 6. And you can just go back and keep going back until you are literally, and when I say imagine it, I mean really imagine it. Don't let anything from the outside world get into that little bubble. Truly imagine that moment where you can imagine what, I'm sad. Okay, well, where's your sadness on a scale of 0 to 10? It's 6. Okay, after you've determined what is your sadness, I lost a family member or my pet or whatever your sadness is, and your SUD scale is, maybe it's a 7 or 8, you're still a little sad. Well, imagine it being a little higher, and then imagining it being lower. Because when you have thought, you have change. When you change your thoughts, you change your life. And that goes with everything. Everything starts on the inside, and then it works its way. The outside catches up. Always does, always will. So hopefully that was helpful. I will be back again next week. This is also on YouTube for my YouTube, my 1 or 2 YouTube followers. Again, some people wonder, why do you still do this? You know what, this is, my grandchildren will see these someday. My children obviously will see these if they don't already. Just a piece of legacy I can leave behind. And I know someday it's going to pick up, and I'm okay, whatever it takes. And I probably should advertise. Yeah, I should probably do some advertising, set up some event space. I should probably do that. I'll work on it. Anyway, I'm going to sign out now because I told a colleague I would call them back in 20 minutes, and it's been almost 25. So thank you for joining me. Thank you, Catherine, for being here. I appreciate that. That's very kind. And until next week, which I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but it just depends on what's going on in my world and what I hear a lot of, and then I'll bring that up. I look forward to being with you next week. Take care, everyone. Have a fantabulous weekend ahead. Do something fun. I'm going to a play, not just being in one. I love being in plays, but I'm going to go to a